Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studios in Atlanta, Georgia, it's time for Atlanta Business Radio, spotlighting the city's best businesses and the people who lead them.
And we are back with a very special edition of Atlanta Business Radio. It is time for GSU ENI Radio. We are broadcasting live from the Entrepreneurship and Innovation Institute down here at Georgia State University. Stone Payton, Lee Cantor here with you. Lee, it is my pleasure to welcome back to the Business RadioX microphone entrepreneurs in residence, Jamine Moton and MK Khan. How are y'all?
Oh, awesome. Happy to be here.
Doing great.
Well, MK, before we get too far into things, tell us about this Entrepreneurs in Residence program that you guys are affiliated with.
So Jamine and I are the two entrepreneurs in residence of as a part of the ENI, the Entrepreneurship Innovation Institute. But more specifically, we are tasked with running the Main Street Entrepreneurship Seed Fund program, which consists of 21 companies that when I was here last night, I talked about that we picked, and I'm sure you guys have talked to some of them since then.
Yeah, we've talked to quite a few of them.
So as entrepreneurs in residence, we are basically, both of us have been around the block a little bit and have done this. And
you got some scar tissue.
Some scar tissue, some scars for sure. And some successes to share, and some failures to learn from. And so we basically help these entrepreneurs that we have picked to sort of go through the process of taking what the idea that they have that they're building and sort of transform them into viable businesses by the time hopefully they leave the nest.
And
right?
then your role though is to be their mentor, or is it to be their coach? Like what? About the role.
Mentor, coach, sometimes parents, friends, brother, sister, everything. Because entrepreneurship is really hard. It's most people think, entrepreneurship, somebody's got a business, they make some money and that's it. But it's a really emotional roller coaster ride. The highs are the highs, and Jamine will tell you the lows are the really, really lows. Both of us have been through that. But I'll tell you what, it's been, it started out a little bit rough, but I've been fortunate and really, really lucky to have Jamine join us, because she's taken 50% or maybe some more load off me. That helps me focus on sort of some of the future programs that we want to build around the ENI.
And then the like you mentioned, the Main Street Entrepreneurship Fund, that was a fund that a donor contributed a bunch of money.
That's right. Well, the Main Street Fund was primarily started through a grant from the Marcus Foundation, Bernie Marcus. And the goal of the fund was to find entrepreneurs that are affiliated with the Georgia State University as students or alumni or community members that are looking to sort of build a business. And so that was sort of the start of the.
So that was the
fund.
thought of it, and then the reality of it was you helped kind of curate this group down to 21.
That's right. We went through a application process. We didn't have much time to market the fund. By the time there was a timeline we want to get started, and so by the time everything all the things got all the paperwork got done. We were in kind of sort of a short time frame. So we had about 100 plus applications, and we went through a pitch process and sort of an application process, and we picked 21 companies.
And then those 21 companies, were they at the idea stage, or they had to have revenue? Like, what was the criteria?
Yeah, great question. So, the 21 companies, we separated them into two groups. One we called the seed stage companies, and the other one is what we term as startup. Now, the seed stage companies are a little earlier. Some of them, they sort of basically when they started it about 2 months ago. They were just in an idea stage, had an idea, had a concept. Some of them had a business, but the business wasn't as far along. The startup companies are are the ones that are a little bit further along than the seed companies. They're still pre-seed, but they're still from a funding perspective, but from a business traction perspective, they have moved their business further along than the companies that are in the seed group.
And then when you're working with them, they get selected as part of the program, and then they get some money, right, at that point?
Yes. So both groups get. This is the beauty of the program. If you look around the Atlanta area, there's a lot of different programs out there that give you money, but they also take equity in the company.
Right.
We don't. We give them the money, and it's a grant. It's non-dilutive. That means they don't have to give up equity. But not only do they get money.
Which is the first lesson in entrepreneurship.
Yeah, right. Don't dilute yourself. But the cool part about it is that not only do they get the money, they get this, sort of, to be a part of this cohort where we have workshops and education to sort of help them understand how to really build their business, get customers, do customer discovery, validate the idea, find product market fit, get all their books straight, get all the legality straight, and of course, they get the infinite wisdom of Jamine and myself.
And then part of this is there's a demo day.
Yes. That's where the rubber meets the road.
Is this the culmination of their relationship with the seed fund? Is that
right?
That's like kind of the graduation.
Well, not really the graduation. The demo day is to basically at the end of the sort of a midway, a little bit more further than the midway in the program, to see how these companies have fared from the time they started in the program, from the time of up until that point. And really, to test the mettle of these companies in terms of, how their business is moving along, and also if Jamine and I are doing the right things, and so that's also sort of a testament to, the work that we're doing and where we need to sort of improve. And so the demo day, these 21 companies get up there and present to a group of external judges from across the community.
And then the purpose of they're demoing for what purpose? Is this to get more money? Is there a prize? Is this just like great job, everybody?
Well, first of all,
a participation award.
Right.
What's the reason they're demoing?
Well, the primary reason they're demoing, it's called a demo day, but all of these 21 entrepreneurs are going to go up there and tell their story, and that story is going to be of one that how they got started, what sort of made them go and start that business that they're doing, what drove them to that. And then tell the story of where they have come since the time they started. Now, of course, that's the primary goal, but of course we want to incentivize them as well. So, the top 3 companies in each category, in other words, the top 3 companies in seed and the top 3 companies in the startup groups will get additional grants. Based on their performance.
And that's so the judges are going to look at certain criteria, and then they're going to vote kind of their favorites, who's more far.
That's right. So Jamine has been working on Jamine and I both have been working on it on a scoring sheet that will provide the judges an independent look into each of these companies, so they can basically judge them on the true merits of this of their business and where they are.
Now, Jamine, how you've been working very closely with some of these companies. How have you seen them progress? Is this like kind of dramatic, or is this kind of a tweak or incremental?
Well, all of the businesses are at different stages. And so we have Ma'am K and I have a very unique role to make sure that they all hit their benchmarks and their individual goals, but at the same time coaching them through their individual challenges and making sure they stay grounded. So for me, it's been, it's for me a slight outer body experience, because I'm in the rough now, and have been in the rough for 3 to 4 years now. So I see a lot of myself in them and likewise back forth. but they're, like I said, they're all at different stages and they all require different things. However, they are all very open to growing and developing and leaving their mark on this city. I think one of the things MK and I talk about all the time is, if we see another pitch party, if we see another, incubator come out of the city, I think it speaks a lot to our ecosystem, right? But what we are challenging, each other in is we don't want this just to be another incubator, or we don't want it to just be another pitch or a demo day. We want this to be a very, very uniquely set experience where the entrepreneurs can not just grow, but they can be viable. And I think that's our goal. And sometimes that's a hard bite. I like to say that, I say I'm Simon Cowell. I'm the one, I'm going to tell you like it is, because like MK said, it's very difficult. Entrepreneurship is not easy. And so I would rather them bump into us than bump into the real life of what entrepreneurship is.
Well, if they're going to quit after you say something to them,
you don't have it anyway. And I tell them,
what are you going to do after you don't make money for a few months?
Yeah. And there was this one entrepreneur, he was my life for at least 2.5 weeks where I would not let him go. I just said, no, go back and do it again. Nope, that's not going to work. Go back and do it again. And MK and I talked about it. We laugh about it because we're literally coaching them. I literally saw his eyes get watery. And if you cannot pass, he was like, well, I have a lot going on. I don't want to hear it. We all have to stand up every day. MK and I are true entrepreneurs. We are dealing with things right now in real life ourselves. Mm-hmm. So when I have an entrepreneur in here that's pitching and that's receiving funding, it's very difficult for entrepreneurs to get funding. And when someone's offering you an opportunity to, they're investing into your company, they're not taking equity. You should be treating that like it's a once in a lifetime opportunity.
Priority. Should be a priority.
Man, you should be coming, I shouldn't beat you to your sessions. You should beat me.
Now, you kind of alluded to this earlier, but nowadays there's a lot of these kind of incubators and these startup places, co-working spaces where it seems like startups are a lifestyle more than kind of a calling. And what's your take on that in terms of we want more and more entrepreneurs. Everybody wants that, but you want people with the right kind of expectations and the frame of mind this is a grind. This isn't something like they see on TV where they go, hey, and they tell a funny story and then someone gives them $1 million. Like that's not how it is in real life. And I think that sometimes they think that's what it is. It's a reality show. And then, they're going to get famous or they're going to get money just for showing up. And that's just not how it works.
No, it's not. I use the example when I was a police officer and people say, oh, you look sexy in your uniform. I said, there's nothing sexy about a uniform with a bulletproof vest behind it. Let's be real. Okay. Right. So I think on the front end, it's very exciting. You have an opportunity to pave your own way and leave your legacy on the city. You have an opportunity to align yourself with one of the top business entrepreneurship ecosystems, I would even say in the world, but definitely in the US, definitely 1 to 2 in terms of just ecosystem and community. So with that, you have support. So you have a lot of people pushing you, encouraging you, challenging you, and even giving you resources, right? But let's keep the main thing, that the incubator or the agency, the co-working space should leave you in a better position. If you're doing, and I tell these entrepreneurs, if you look the same way you did when you first came in here, either we failed you or you failed yourself. So that's where MK and I have to look in the mirror and see what happened. Now, if we've coached you, which MK is one of the best. So together, if we're coaching you and you're still not achieving your benchmarks, then you need to evaluate whether or not entrepreneurship is for you. And I would like you said, I'd rather you just stop now than continue on, because entrepreneurship is very hard. And I know you want to go through it gracefully, and you should go through it gracefully, where people don't always see the bruises. That's why they have Band-Aids, right? But at the end of the day, it's hard. And we want these entrepreneurs to be ready to take all of the ebbs and the flows that entrepreneurship has to offer. And I do believe that in order for us to do our entrepreneurs justice, we have to be honest about the journey. And I know with Main Street, I know that's one of the philosophies that MK and I and our coaching styles is that we're going to be honest with them. Good, bad, and different. We're going to be honest, and you will be different. If you invest a little bit, just a little bit, it doesn't take a lot, but it does take focus, persistence, and all those things for you to move the needle forward a little bit.
And this is one of those experiences that you can go through this and you could, kind of bleed and cry and try your hardest. and the answer might be, you know what, this didn't work out.
Yep.
And that's just the reality of the situation.
Exactly. So I say this all the time, that if you're not a successful business, you're either in the wrong market or you're not supposed to be an entrepreneur. And so you have to look at that. And so it is our job as coaches is to sometimes tell them what they may not want to hear.
It's that tough love.
Oh man, if you can't survive the tough love, then you're not fit for it. And honestly, all of the entrepreneurs have rose to the occasion. I know in our group, I'm very hard on them, obviously, but I'm very hard on them, because I want to see really what they're made of. And if you can't, I'm extremely competitive. So if you can't figure it out under my coaching, then you probably won't be successful, because like I said, you need to be able to ebb and flow in the ups and the downs.
Now, how about some advice for that entrepreneur that's out there that's made it already and then is thinking about, you know what, I'm going to want to give back and I want to be an entrepreneur in residence, maybe in this program or in another program. What are some do's and don'ts?
So I think one of the first things is you have to look in the mirror, and you have to find your own journey. Because I think for me, when I'm coaching, my style is very transparent, very direct. And I believe that because of where I am in my own journey with entrepreneurship, that I have a unique position and things that I can offer. My story is very different from MK's. I wish my story was MK's story. If you know MK's story, he's had quite a few successes. I'm very early in the stage of, I'm literally scaling right now. So I'm at a position where I can offer that middle of the road coaching and advising. Not much can get past me because I'm literally dealing with it. And then you have, MK's experience where he's flipped a few companies and has some successes there. So that's just an entirely different perspective. But knowing your perspective and knowing what you have to offer is the first thing. And then having, the humility to help others where they need assistance, I think is, for me, not just a calling, but it's, I say I love judging pitches, and I didn't realize how much I enjoyed coaching until I got this opportunity. MK and I laugh about it all the time. Like, we would rather be doing this than running our businesses, but we're really enjoying it. But I think there's a piece of it that is a calling. And I think you really have to, be in tune with your journey and before you can help someone else. But if you ever find an opportunity where coach your community where you are. Coach your community where you are. If I have a piece of advice, don't wait to get into the position to offer advice. Atlanta's full of entrepreneurs begging for direction. So just coach your colleagues and the people who come to you, and the opportunities will come.
Now, I'm a parent, and one of the things that I enjoy about being a parent is that I'll tell my kid something and it seems like he doesn't care and is not listening, but then I'll hear him say something I've said to his friend. And that's very rewarding for me. Do you have that experience? Has that happened to you where you think that they're not listening, but then they're doing what you say, or you're seeing it kind of really get ingrained into their being, and it may seem like they're not paying attention?
Definitely. So there's one in particular. I call them all my sons and my daughters. But there's one, and I joke to him directly. I'm like, you're my son, so figure it out. Before I come down with the gavel, I usually say something about them being my child. But there's one in particular. Honestly, the first site visit, I didn't think that he was hearing me. 'Cause I said a lot over and over again, the same thing over and over.
Right.
Like, it's not registering. I wonder if I have to change my teaching coaching style. When he came in for the pitch, it was interesting because I still didn't think he heard me. It took a minute. I think after 3 or 4 times, it hit him that really what I was saying was exactly what he needed to do. Then when he leaned into it, the next time he came and he killed it.
Then
so
it's game on, right?
Yeah, it is very much. I don't have children, but I would imagine this is very much like the parent, grooming a child, getting them to see their potential, believing in themselves, and then having the patience to wait for that light bulb to go off. But man, when that light bulb goes off, it's pretty amazing to see.
That's when it's rewarding, right? That's when
it's everything.
So now, has there been any moments for you, MK, that you can share where you're like, man, I'm really making an impact. I can see that this is going to work for this kid?
Yeah, it's too many actually. It's hard to pick one, but the way when I'm coaching, I put myself in that person's shoe, because everybody's life journey is different. the experiences that they've been through, the things that they have done, the environment they have been in, shapes their sort of how they approach things. And so it's not a one size fits all. You can't coach an entrepreneur, every entrepreneur the same way, give every entrepreneur the same advice. You have to sort of put yourself in their bubble and sort of relate to sort of their like where they are coming from. And so sometimes you're giving you're giving the best advice you think you're giving, and it may not be registering because they just don't understand where you're coming from because they're just not in that same situation.
Right.
And so, you have to tailor that, to sort of their specific circumstance and their specific business and their specific market and their specific idea. Now, there are some generic things that we do and generic things that we tell them, right? But then there's the ones that are specific to that to that entrepreneur's business, and that entrepreneur's challenge.
And you mentioned that maybe the entrepreneur's not ready to hear it yet because they're not at that stage. But the entrepreneurial journey really is a journey that we all go through, right? We're all going to hit those points at some point in time. They may not be today or tomorrow, but at some point we all kind of go through similar things. Don't you agree to that?
Yeah, this is my issue. Has been for recently and in the last couple of years is that entrepreneurship used to be about it used to be natural, it used to be organic, right? You face a problem, you see a problem, and you want to address it, and that sort of evolves into something bigger, and then eventually, a startup is born, and then that grows into a big company. And if you look at all the successful companies out there, that's how it happened, right? It's all natural, it's all organic. And then recently it's become this thing about coolness, right? About I'm an entrepreneur, and what does that mean? Now, nothing wrong with that, right? Nothing wrong with saying, studying entrepreneurship, and you're learning, okay, what that life is like. And you can still take those teachings and experiences and apply into a bigger corporate setting or, in a different environment. But being an entrepreneur itself has to be organic. You can't force yourself to it, right? You can't wake up one day and saying, I want to be an entrepreneur, so let's figure out how to do it. It doesn't work that way. It's got to come to you naturally, right? And so you can tell, people who are forcing it versus people who are, actually, they mean it, right? They are passionate, and more importantly, they're obsessed with what they're doing, that there's no way they're going to quit. You asked a question to Jamine about, what she likes about this, or what does it take to be an entrepreneur in residence? To be an entrepreneur in residence, you have, it's not at all, it's zero, about the money, right? As a matter of fact, there is no money. Yeah. We get mileage, right? So, which is great. But the thing is, it has to be natural. You have to enjoy. You have to enjoy it, right? Before I was even doing this here at Georgia State, I guarantee you, Jamine's got the same objective. Is that finding a way to give back? Is the most important thing that should drive you. I just would try to find, go into Atlanta Tech Village, hang out there, and talk to entrepreneurs and just share some advice. Go to the ATDC at Georgia Tech and find people there. When I go to conferences, different industry conferences, the first thing I do is I find the place inside the conference where there's a startup alley or some startup group where they're presenting these small booths. You have these grand booths that's got all kind of disco lights in it and stuff like that. And then you got this little rinky-dink booths that basically they're donating to a single, startup. I go there and to see how I can help those companies, because I know I've been there myself and how hard it is and how tough it is and how lonely it is. And so for me is to find a way to how I can add value to those entrepreneurs and to those startups.
And then that's when they're the most fragile, when in their head they may think they have something, but in reality they don't know what they don't know yet. And that's part of the leap of faith that entrepreneurship is. I mean, you have a belief that you have a solution to a problem, but it's a belief. And until you do the customer discovery and the hard work of, is this real? Do people want to like it? Do they want to buy it? Are they going to buy it for the price I need to sell it in order for me to have a business? Those are all difficult things that, you got to skin your knee and you got to kind of battle in order and grind to get the answers to that.
Oh, yeah. I would, I would go to bed every day, deciding that tomorrow, this is it. I'm shutting it down. And then I wake up in the morning, I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. Every night or every other night, that was the thing, right? Okay, this is it. I'm not doing this anymore. Wake up in the morning. All right, no, we got to keep going. And that's what every entrepreneur actually goes through, right? Because, if any entrepreneur or anyone out there is trying to do it for the money, they're going to give up, right? Because there is no money.
And there's easier ways to make money.
There are easier ways to make money.
You get a job and get paid just for showing up. In entrepreneurship, you don't get paid for showing up.
Yeah. You're going to work more hours.
You're going to work more hours, I mean, Jamine will tell you, she's being humble, but she's running an amazing business right now. I wish
Did you see me just fall asleep?
She just came back from the Super Bowl, providing security to the Super Bowl, and she's about to do it again for the Big Four here in Atlanta.
Yeah, 3 o'clock in this morning. I literally just
this lady is amazing. So she's being too humble here, but she's doing amazing things, and I have no doubt, I have zero doubt that she's going to be successful. But you gotta. It's not about it's about believing in what you do and being obsessed in the problem that you want to solve. And that's it, and if along the line there's money, great. That's sort of like a, extra add-on, right? But that's not why entrepreneurs do it. At least I know the ones that we coach, they don't.
For me, and MK and I have joked about this because this is the first year. So we're learning a lot, and we're learning who we are, who we are not, who we want to be.
Right?
Who we want to be is really where my lens is. And so for me, because I have the experience of being a part of 2 pretty amazing incubators that have been game changers for me, I know how impactful they can be. Mm-hmm. While at the same time, I don't want us to build an incubator that looks like anything else. I want, if anything, for this to be the closest experience to the scale as possible. So they're prepared. I don't want it to, we can align resources, we can make connectivity, but I want the experience to be as impactful as the actual business will be to that entrepreneur.
Right. It has to be a real simulator. It can't be.
I don't want it to be
this checklist. Do these 14 things, and then you're an entrepreneur at the end.
No, I want it to be the stretching that entrepreneurship gives, and I want, I know that with the assistance of the Main Street Fund and the resources with GSU, that when everybody comes together and builds this ecosystem, that the entrepreneurs that come out of this program will speak for it. So it's not going to take a lot to tell the story. The entrepreneurs will be the story if we're doing a good job. And I know that's.
And the seed fund is a startup.
Right.
I mean, this is
that's
the
right.
thing.
This
is all of the elements of a startup.
Yes,
so this is part of the deal. We're all kind of learning together, and we're all trying to make it as good as it can be. But again, like you said, this is the first year. This is an untested thing, and the proof is the proof.
Yeah, the entrepreneurs will speak for it. And I know for me, I've been very proud to be a part of the Main Street Fund.
So you got some folks you're working with that you're fired up about, that you think like they got what it takes?
I think our entrepreneurs actually are better than MK's, to be honest.
I don't know about that.
We'll competition.
See. We have to see demo day.
The demo day. I think I have the ticket. I do.
Well, there'll be 6 winners, so we'll see who's.
We got to figure out one. We got to pick one. No, I'm just kidding.
Right. No. It's kind of. It is kind of a. I'm. So we separated the companies between Jamine and myself. She's got 10. She's got 10 and a half. I got 10 and a half. And so, it's, every day, I ask her and she asks me how are your guys doing? And I ask her the same. I don't know. I think I've got some pretty good, good ones, and actually I got some really good ones.
Yeah,
and, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
We'll see who makes it on the stage and, who gets to be one of the top 3.
Diamond.
And then, so after the demo day, what happens? You mentioned this is just partway through the program. It's not the culmination.
Yeah. So and I'll let Jamine talk a little bit about that as well. But yeah, this is not the end. The goal is to really help these entrepreneurs continue on their business journey and keep doing it, right? Keep moving forward. And so, after demo day, we're going to continue to have coaching sessions and, workshops. We have some other plans. I'll let Jamine talk about that. But even after the program itself, it doesn't stop, right? We will continue to be here for them. The Entrepreneurship and Innovation Institute is committed to all of the entrepreneurs that are tied to Georgia State, and us, we are a part of that. And so we will continue to be available as mentors and coaches for all of these companies. Jamine, you want to talk about a little bit about?
Yeah. So I think up to this point, it's been a lot of one-on-ones. So the coaching with entrepreneurs and vice versa. After demo day, we're going to kind of lean into more of a peer type of learning, opportunity where we're going to bring them all together and allow that sharing so that they can learn from us collectively together. So it's not just groups, like it's not just my entrepreneurs and MKs. I think the work that we've done with them individually is impactful, but I think the next step is them learning from each other and getting that feedback, not only how they can grow and continue to develop, but how the program can grow and continue to develop. And so we're going to continue to work with them, I think 4 to 5 months afterwards. And I'm not letting go of mine. And once they're connected forever. So
that's right.
And this is one of those things where you want to role model the behavior that you'd like them to have after the fact that, hey, giving back is part of the deal.
Absolutely.
So, we're helping you. We expect you to help the next person.
Absolutely. And I mean, I've been very impressed, with watching GSU from afar. And one of the things I've admired is how they wrap around their entrepreneurs. You listen to an entrepreneur that comes out of GSU and they sound like they've been in business forever, and it's misleading because they're still learning, but the language, how they carry themselves, the priority levels and all that is great. So they have an amazing foundation. We're just molding it, making sure it pushes in the right direction.
And then if somebody wants to learn more about the Main Street Seed Fund, is there a website? Because aren't you going to start recruiting for next year, or is this like what stage is the next round of this, or is there going to be a next round?
All TBD. Right now we're focused on these 21 companies, making sure that they make it across the finish line. They continue to grow, their business, and they keep on that, track. Whether it's to, raise more capital down the road, whether it's to, scale up, through different means. But, we are still, evaluating what we have done so far, what we have learned from everything that we have done, and how we can make this program even better. Whether there will be another cohort, it's still to be determined. It's above my pay grade to really to make any predictions there. But if you Google Main Street plus ENI, the Main Street program.
If you go to eni.gsu.edu/Main Street Seed Fund, I'm sure you can find it there on the website. And if to go to the demo day, that's not open to the public. That's a private event, right? And that's going to be held. When is it, next month or?
Yeah, unfortunately, due to limitations, in terms of, the amount of people and the amount of interest we have seen, for this program and demo day, we have sort of decided to, make it a private event.
It's just for the entrepreneurs and the judges and the sponsors.
Well, and some dignitaries and, within the ecosystem, so it's by invite only.
Right. And that's going to be an exciting time for these students that have gone through this to actually see their work in front of strangers that can let them know how they're doing. It's going to be exciting.
For sure. Exciting is, just.
And then for each of you, this has been a rewarding experience.
Oh, man.
More than that, everything that I'll let Jamine talk about her, her experience. But for me, this is, talking to, every time I get to talk to any of these entrepreneurs, is the best day, best time of my day, right? Whenever I get a chance to talk to them, I'll admit, I mean, it's not easy. Time is very, time is limited, because of everything, because of the number of things that I do. But, being a part of this program and having, the opportunity, to coach, these entrepreneurs and startups is the best thing, that has happened to me.
Good stuff, Jamine. Same with you.
Yeah, same with me. I'm over here just thinking, we have a few wins, in 2019 and a lot of wins prior to that. The opportunity to share those stories, those ups and those downs, with someone that could potentially have the same down and literally watch them not fall because you gave them a piece of information. They heard you. That's all I want to do is help people win. If you know my background, that is my breath. So to be a part of this program and to help these entrepreneurs win, I don't know if there's a better feeling. Like I said, I don't have children, so I don't have the privilege of seeing that every day. But if this is anything close to that, man, I need to get some kids around me. It's just incredible. And to see their eyes, to look in their eyes and they look at you, as their direction, that's pretty amazing.
Right.
So,
the impact is real.
The impact is very real, and I'm honored to be a part of it.
Good stuff. Well, thank you both for being part of it. You're doing important work and definitely making an impact on this program and the community and all those people that you're helping, their families and their community. So it's one of those ripples that keep on going. So
Absolutely.
we appreciate you.
Thank you for having us.
All right. This is Lee Cantor for Stone Payton. We will see you all next time on GSU ENI Radio.